This is J. Krishnamurti's 7th discussion with teachers and students at Brockwood Park, 1973.
What shall we talk about?
Could we continue, as we said, that habit comes when we don't, we become bored because things become habitual to us.
I don't quite remember what we talked about.
Well, doesn't matter. Could we take from...
What would you like to discuss this morning? Talk over together. Come on, sirs. Silence, all right. I was talking the other day with some friends and we were concerned about the mediocrity of the schools and the world in general, except for the few exceptions. Something going on there. Except for some few exceptions, we are rather mediocre. You know what that word means?
Ordinary?
Ordinary. Middle, neither hot nor cold, neither black nor white. Just the average, middle. In Latin that word means middle. And why education should make us so ordinary? Not extraordinary, but very, very ordinary, common kind of people that schools turn out, or rather the education turns out, or the society turns people out with their influence, churches, guides, gurus, and all the rest of it. Why the world and ourselves have become so extraordinarily common. Would you like to discuss that?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Does that interest you? Why?
Should there be any reason?
Huh?
Should there be any reason for interest?
Should there be any?
Reason for interest?
Shouldn't there? Are you interested in talking about it and going into it, finding out why we, you and I, or X and another, or and ourselves, why we are so ordinary? Why there isn't a flame, a burning passion for something, not some mediocre thing, like becoming a prime minister, or becoming a general, or becoming a very rich man, or just wandering over the world without anything, denying everything and limiting oneself in one's action because you have thought so much about action that you are paralyzed to do anything. So that's a question that should be of tremendous importance. Because we have to bring about a different kind of world, a different kind of civilization, culture. Not the blueprint according to some capitalist or communist theory, but actually bring about a different human being who is not ordinary, who hasn't got, or rather who has tremendous passion. Not for guitar playing or violin playing or becoming a great businessman or anything of that kind, but tremendous passion to live a life that's entirely different from that which we now live. Has that any meaning to you, that question? Shall we discuss it? Shall we talk over it together? Tunki? Don't agree just casually because you're bored with something else. Huh? That interests you? Yes. Right. Are you ordinary? You know what I mean by ordinary? Mediocre. Those words you see, mediocrity, ordinary, common, has a derogatory meaning, rather pejorative meaning. That means rather unpleasant meaning, rather than insulting meaning. Oh, you call me, he's a mediocre man. It's rather condemning. I'm not using that word in that sense at all. I'm just using that word to find out if one is actually not somebody tells you you're mediocre, therefore you accept that mediocrity, but for yourself to find out why one is so ordinary. Why one is, in the ordinary sense of that word, ambitious, greedy, envious, wanting position, prestige, and want to be known, and that tummy rot that goes on. All that is within the field of mediocrity. At least I considered so. Now, is one, you and I, mediocre? We are not using that word in any condemnatory sense, right? In any derogatory sense, in any sense of condemnation. Just seeing for oneself if one is a second-hand human being. Huh? What do you say?
It seems almost impossible to think of oneself as and realize that one is second-hand without it having a slightly derogatory meaning.
No, I just want to see what my face looks like. I don't say, well, it must be straight or this must be long or short, or just look without any condemnation. Huh? Come on, sirs. Just go.
It is simple to look out, but to look in,
No, don't. Tunki, don't tear it to pieces yet. We'll do that a little later. First see if Tunki, I'm not talking, you understand, quite personally, if Tunki or me or you is mediocre, common, ordinary. Little quarrels, little ambitions, little desire to be powerful, dominate, be attached to somebody, or fight for one's position, and so on and on and on. I feel all that belongs to the area of commonness, of ordinariness. Now, if you say, well, I am a bit like that, honestly, right? Then what shall we do? You understand my question? I look at myself, not only in the mirror, but also look at myself as I am, just to see what I am. I don't want to change it. I don't say, well, I must be different from what I am. But first, I must look at myself as I actually am. Not theoretically, not I wish I were like that, but actually, factually, what I am. And I see, if I am, that I'm very ordinary. No dignity, no respect for anything except for my own particular images that I have, to which I pay respect. Ordinary desires, yielding to certain influences and resisting others, wanting to be famous and notorious or a little more, trying to better myself. I feel that is the very essence of mediocrity. Right? Now, are you like that? Be simple, look at you, be very dreadfully honest. And I find I am like that. One is like that. Then what shall I do? You understand my question? Come on, sirs, discuss with me.
But I don't see, I might realize, yes, I am like it, but I don't see a clear picture how it is,
You see more or less vaguely, don't you?
Yes.
That's good enough.
Well,
Look, Tunki, don't complicate it, old boy. You keep it very simple. Have ordinary desires, right? Little more, they are complex, but they're ordinary. I'm like everybody else. The middle. Aren't you envious, wanting position? Saying, by Joe, I'm not clever, but I must be clever. I don't know what to do, but I must, etc., etc., etc. Now, if one sees that, What will you do? I see I'm mediocre, ordinary, second-hand, common, vulgar. All those are words without any sense of condemnation. They're just the words being used in as they are described certain facts in a dictionary. They're nothing else. I am that. I see that. What shall I do? Come on, sirs. Come on, Tuki, you.
No, I couldn't see it when I'm in me. Then I couldn't see it.
But my dear Tunki,
It's only
don't complicate it, old boy. Just aren't you, what?
I think one has to be true to oneself.
Beg pardon?
Be true to oneself first. You have to be true to yourself first.
I'm suggesting that. Look at yourself first.
When I look at these things, like you're saying, these ordinary things, I see that I don't have to be them, or that I'm not them. But I can't maintain that scene.
Aren't you all making it rather complicated, the beastly thing? Come on, Professor of English, what do you say?
One disregards the factors of mediocrity. If one sees.
Do you first see it?
It seems like there's comparison in that, saying that you're mediocre.
Do I'm not comparing, judging, condemning, evaluating. I see I'm just ordinary, right? That's not condemnation. That's not comparison.
No, but the very thing to say ordinary must be compared with what is generally.
No, I follow the herd. I follow the rest of the world, what they are doing. Only I slightly give it a different meaning, color it a little bit more, complicate it a little more, put on a different kind of coat round it, and I feel I'm slightly different from the rest of the world. That's nonsense.
Seems like if you have a desire and you call it ordinary, it's moving away from it.
This has become quite... You know, sir, what it means, ordinary?
We've all been educated to be ordinary.
That's what I'm questioning. Are we being educated, not only here, but in all the universities and schools and, are we all being educated to be ordinary? I may have a specialization. I may be a most marvelous artist, but I'm just ordinary inside. You follow? I've got a technique, I've got an artistic thing, but I am envious. I want to have money. I want to be recognized. My pictures must be hung in a very museum. I must be known the world over as the great. That is ordinary. Though I have a special talent for painting or for music, whatever it is.
What then is extraordinary?
What's that?
What then is extraordinary?
I don't know. We'll come to that. First, do we see what we are? Come on, my lady. Don't go to sleep. Don't let me talk. This is supposed to be a dialogue. I realize, looking at myself, both in the mirror there in front of me when I'm shaving, combing my hair. I say, I see outwardly what I am, physically. And also I see inwardly, looking at myself, without any comparison, just seeing. I see that I'm very ordinary person. Ordinary. And I say to myself, what has made me ordinary? Why am I like everybody else, only I've got a longer hair or shorter hair. I'm little more clever, little less. You follow? But still I'm along in the same pattern, in the same field, but only have a special corner, perhaps a little more cultivated, but it's in the same field. And I say to myself, is it possible that education has done this? Education meaning culture. You know, culture, the culture of 2 centuries of Christianity, of 5,000 years of Hindu culture. Has that made me ordinary this way? Is this ordinariness, if you can use that word, commonness, the product of the culture in which I live? And I may react against that culture, and I think I'm out of the ordinary, but the reaction is still the ordinary. I wonder if you get all this. So I say to myself, it may be culture, that is, education makes me conform. And also my own desire, my own feeling of insecurity, insufficiency, makes me dependent, makes me like everybody else. I have the ordinary desires. I want a wife, sex, pleasure, money, position. You follow? I'm all that. And I say to myself, I see this. The next is, is it possible to break through all this? You understand, okay? Am I made myself clear now?
So the ordinary, you mean, is the attitude?
No, not only the attitude, the way I live, the way I think, the way I feel, my attitudes, my aptitudes, my temperament, my inclination, my urge, are all just like everybody else. Not that I'm saying everybody is wrong, I must be different. I'm just like everybody else. And I say that is mediocre. That is mediocrity, vulgarity, commonness. I'm not condemning it, I'm just seeing it. And then I say to myself, is it possible to go beyond it? Though the culture is making me mediocre, the schools, the colleges, the universities, the priests, the church, the governments, everything around me is making me conform, adjust, making me common like the rest of the gang. The gang may be 5, 40, 50 million or more, but still we all live on the same field. And I say to myself, is it possible to break through this? Are you asking this question? No, don't say yes, you are not. I'm sorry, I must push you to this. Don't sit there just gone to sleep. You're faced with this, aren't you? I was once talking in India about this problem of mediocrity. A lady came after me, she was an American, she said, she was terribly insulted. She was so furious. She nearly slapped me. And she said, what do you mean by calling me mediocre? I am not. How dare you? I said, I'm so sorry, if you're not, you're not. Huh? That's the end of it. But she was so upset, thinking she might be mediocre. And she got angry in order to cover up that mediocrity. You follow? So don't get angry with me. Now, how do you get beyond it? Which is it possible for your mind and your heart, your whole being, totally, both physically, psychologically, intellectually, not to jump out of that field? You understand? Come on, sir, do this is a dialogue. What will make you jump out of it?
You first have to see that you're ambitious and
I'm sure you've gone, I've talked about it 10 minutes. I said, look at yourself. Watch yourself. See if you are. If you say I'm not mediocre, be quite sure that you really understand what that word means. You can say, well, I'm not mediocre because I've got a talent to I don't know what. I'm a very good guitar player. Huh? I'm a marvelous writer.
But you're not talking about the physical, that world of the physical ordinariness, but the other.
Yes, sir. Even the whole, don't, I must discuss, I will one day will talk about yoga. Not now. Don't get excited, but we'll talk about it. Because if we divide the physical, the mental, the heart and sentiment, take it as a whole, not break it up. Look at your whole, the whole of you, and look at yourself, whether that totality of you is mediocre, common, ordinary. You understand? Just the whole of you.
Sir, it would seem like the initial reaction of looking at that, you would begin immediately to think about what isn't mediocre and move towards that which is also mediocre. It's all
No,
mediocre.
first see that. Don't have a reaction to that yet. I said that.
That's where it would require something that isn't mediocre to see it.
No, just to see that, and then the reaction we'll examine afterwards.
It seems like these are more parts of me than the whole of me.
Beg pardon?
It seems like these are all parts of me, not the whole of me.
Is the whole of you, I understand, is the whole of you different?
Well, I feel a separation and a coming. If I look at any one of these, if I say, well, am I this, am I that? that I feel apart. No, it's not different right then.
Go on, sir.
It seems like in a certain sense, even for me to ask the question immediately fractures me.
One, sir.
And it seems that in a certain sense, even for me to ask the question creates a division.
No, that.
Problematic fracture.
The asking of a question, does it create division? I ask. I say to myself, yes. When I look at myself totally, if I can look at myself totally, which is quite an art, and is there any of me which is not mediocre? Somewhere in me that's something extraordinary? Or am I the result of all the orderliness of the world in which the poor thing has been born?
The very me is the essence of mediocrity.
Yes, sir, all right. Now, what will you do? We have described it, we have looked at it in different ways. Now, the picture of you is there, right in front of you, if you want to look at it. And you say, I look at it. Then, what is your reaction when you look at yourself? And say, what is your reaction when you find that you are really mediocre?
I'm not satisfied.
What?
I feel I'm not satisfied.
Why? You want to be different?
Yes.
Now, just a minute. You want to be different from the actual, which is mediocre. The very desire to be different from the picture which you have is part of the mediocrity.
That just seems to add to it.
So what will you... Now you follow? Watch it. One observes oneself and one sees that one is mediocre, following somebody, being told what to do, conforming, imitating, being attached and saying, no, I must not be attached, it's terrible, I'm lonely, I must be loved. You follow? One sees that. Then the reaction is to be different from that. Why is there this reaction to be different from that?
You're not looking wholly.
No, just look at it. Don't say we're not. Look, why is the reaction exists? Why?
I feel trapped.
Huh?
I feel trapped when I see that.
I
feel trapped when I see that.
So you, seeing that, you say, but Joe, I must be different. I don't like that. I don't like that image. I don't like that feel. So I'm going to get out of it. Right? No?
That's the reaction.
That's the reaction. We're talking of the reaction. Now, the reaction to be different is part of this commonness, isn't it? Huh? Are you sure? So you see your reactions and the actuality are part of this, in the same area. Now, stay there for a while. I am attached, and I say to myself, I must not be attached. It's terrible. The reaction to attachment is this feeling to be different. Because attachment breeds pain, etc., and I don't want it, and I want to be different. The desire to be different is still part of the same, you're still in the same field, only a different corner of it.
It's a different attachment.
Right. Now, then what will you do?
Find some way to detach myself from both sides.
Go, look, take it slowly, sir. What will you do? You see the picture of yourself, then what you say is quite ordinary, it's quite common, that's just like everybody else. And the reaction to it is to wanting to be different, which is still the same. You see that. Then what will you do? What is the next step? Huh? Your reaction is trying to do something, which is still the same thing.
Didn't you ask the question, what reacts?
Wait, sir, just don't come. Go step by step. You will find out for yourself. I see the picture of myself and I react against it.
Well, I just keep reacting against every
Huh?
new one. I keep reacting against every new one that comes up.
So what? Which means what?
Well, it's these reactions that are controlling me.
Which means what, sir? When I'm reacting each time to another reaction, what does that mean? What does that signify?
Non-acceptance.
Doesn't it signify that I didn't see the truth of the first reaction? Huh?
Sometimes I try to avoid reacting actively by doing nothing, but I see that doing nothing is just as much.
I know, of course, that is the picture, the reaction, and saying to myself, I'll do nothing. Which means what? What has taken place? You have cunningly thought about it. Thought has prevented you from any action. Right? But thought is mediocre. No?
So if I can't see what I can do,
I'm
I can't do anything about it. If I have
Sir, look, sir. I see myself. And I realize I'm a very ordinary person. Mm-hmm. With a lot of pretensions, poses, and determinations, like everybody else. And images I have about myself, like everybody. And when I observe that, my reaction is, oh, for God's sake, this is terrible. I must be different.
I may just say, well, this is rather, I don't think I would say that, so perhaps that's a mediocre reaction, but I think I just say, well, this is rather horrifying, but that's what I am.
That's good enough. When you say this is horrifying, that's a reaction.
Well, perhaps
I
I don't think that. I have this mediocrity, and I see it.
Now, if you see it, and you can only see it clearly when there is no reaction.
What else could there be?
And as Tomera, I mean, we'll see it presently. Not what could be, we'll see what happens.
Well, the problem is I'm thinking about it.
What?
I'm thinking about it.
And that's it. You are thinking about it. Look, sir, I think that whatever I do is going to maintain the corruption of the society in which I live. I've thought about it a great deal. I've thought, what shall I do, what shall I not do, if I join that, if I do this, if I do that, I'm supporting the war, you follow? My thought has created a position in which I can't act. I say to myself, whatever I do, I'm supporting this rottenness. Right? So thought has prevented itself from any action. So I'm paralyzed. And that's part of my mediocrity. Before I went around chasing, now thought says, for God's sake, if you do this, if you do that, if you do the other thing, you will support the war, you'll support the present business world, the economic world, etc., etc. And I thought has built a fortress of inaction. Right? In the same way, thought is the very essence of mediocrity. Leave that for the moment. That's the picture I have. I see myself exactly as I am, without any reaction, if it is possible. And it is possible when you say, now, I will look at it. I will see exactly what it is. Not react. I won't say it's wrong, horrible, it's terrifying. I must look at it in order to learn about it. You understand? If I have a reaction, I can't learn. So learning is non-mediocrity. Oh my yes, you'll shake your head, you people. If I have a reaction, I can't learn. So I say, if the intention is to learn, I won't have any reaction. The intention to learn about mediocrity, learn all about it, keep on learning. Then there won't be any reaction.
If you make that statement, you close the learning because you don't know beforehand whether there will be or there won't be a reaction.
I'm going to find out. Yes. I said that as I'm moving, I'm learning. As I'm moving, I'm learning. Yes. But if I have reaction, I've blocked myself. You get it? Right? So, I see the picture as I am, which is ordinary. I'm learning. I don't have a reaction, but I want to learn why. What has produced this extraordinary thing? Is it society? Is it education? Is it the inevitability of human nature? And is the origin of that mediocrity thought? Go on, sir. You don't.
As I listen to you, I find myself suddenly being tremendously concentrated in listening, and as I look at that, I find that it's thought that's causing me to do that.
When you are listening, you are very concentrated, and that prevents you from observing.
Yeah. Because I'm actually feeling reactions to it in my body.
Sir, when I ask you to look out of the window, does that paralyze you from looking out of the window? No. It's the same way. I said, just look at yourself. Perhaps you've never done it, but try it. Doesn't mean I'm going to concentrate. Just watch it. Relax and look at it.
Part of my mediocrity is my reaction when you speak is that I become concentrated.
That's part of our training.
You're saying that actions can occur, and I can be watching them happen without being involved in them.
Sir, look, sir. I said, we said, one said that to learn about mediocrity, any reaction blocks the mind from learning. Learning is the most important thing. And when the mind realizes that is the most important thing in life is to learn, then reaction won't take place. Because the greater puts aside the lesser.
So you're asking me to continually ask?
What?
You're asking me to continually ask?
No, sir. I'm not asking you anything. I'm pointing out, first observe, realize, see if you are mediocre. If you say, yes, I am quite ordinary, you then, a second later, or a minute later, you have the reaction to it. That reaction prevents you from learning about that mediocrity. Because it is a distraction. It blocks you from observing. I've said this, and I won't go into it. So, now the mind is not reacting but wanting to learn about mediocrity. Right? Right? Don't be quiet, don't want to learn. We went into the question the other day about learning. Right? You're always. Learning, we said, is different from the acquisition of knowledge. The acquisition of knowledge is necessary. But learning is a constant movement in which the past doesn't interfere. The past being knowledge. That is, I observe myself and I see, yes, I'm quite ordinary. And the realization of that being ordinary is either the previous knowledge which labels me as ordinary, or I'm going to learn about it. To learn about it, my mind must be free to look. It cannot look if there is a blockage, as a reaction, as wanting to change what I see. Right? So I say all that goes because I want to learn. That's become the most important thing. Now I said, why am I mediocre? I want to learn. And I learn only when the mind can observe freely the picture which is me, the ordinary entity. and I look, and I'm learning. I see in learning that thought is responsible for this mediocrity. No? You don't see that? Good, I'm glad. Tunki's ready. No, why don't you say, you're...
Thought is the mediocrity.
Huh?
Thought is the mediocrity.
Why do you say that? She says thought is mediocrity. She's agreeing with the speaker. Why do you say it?
Because it's the entity that's preventing you from seeing, from learning.
Why is it big?
She says thought is ordinary. I say, why? Don't answer for her. Let her answer it.
Because the thought isn't separate from the thing that it's thinking about.
That's not good enough. Come on, you said thought is ordinary. Thought is common. Thought is what makes... I said that. And you said yes, so you agree. Why?
Because thought is made up of prejudices and...
What, Gregory?
ideas.
What?
Thought is made up of prejudices, ideas, and jealousies and all this.
Yes, so what? You see? You go on, Gregory.
Well, that's blocking you from seeing. You can't... If you...
So you are saying, are you, that thought is responsible for this mediocrity, because thought is made up of attachment, detachment, wanting, not wanting, huh?
Well, while I'm thinking, I see I can't observe.
What?
I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, and I'm seeing that while I'm thinking, I'm not observing.
So,
It's not separate from the jealousy or the...
so, no, you just put it down.
I think this is the axiom of thought, which is mediocrity, but the thought itself is just a process, you know.
Yes, don't you understand that?
So it cannot be mediocre. It is an equipment.
It's an equipment. Who is employing the equipment?
Well, that is the one which makes them. I mean, the concept, like sort of, I must be better. That is an axiom of the thought. It is, which we take it for granted. It is so, but it is you know, it is either you are told by people you should be competitive or so. So that is the one which makes it mediocre. But
Yes.
the thought itself is not. I mean,
So you are saying the thinker is different from thought?
No, I'm saying the element, the action.
I think he's
The thinker
talking
is
about
a-
wrong thinking, probably. That
The content?
The action which we take it for granted.
What do you mean axiom?
The thinker is the content of the thought, of thinking. It's part of the,
So
part of the whole
the thinker is... No. The thinker, are you saying, is the content,
The thinker...
is thought.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
what
that's
it's saying.
all, old boy. Stick to that.
But I think he says that thought is being misused, and thought itself is not.
Thought is being misused, right? Huh?
Yes.
Who is misusing it?
Thought.
Huh? Thought. So thought is misusing thought?
Well, it's not like that. I mean, there is this mechanism which goes through the process of thought, but there is also one which want to go to a certain direction, which take, let's say, I want to go to Winchester, the thought, use then the knowledge to go there.
No, but before you go to Winchester, thought I said, I better go to Winchester.
Well, that is, if instead going to Winchester, that thought, that thing which says, I will be better, that is the mediocre, but not the process.
I see.
You know,
I got it. You are saying the process of going to Winchester is not mediocre. That's a process. Whereas the desire, the thought to go to Winchester may be mediocre because it wants to have fun in Winchester. Right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
stick to that, that's good enough, old boy. Don't complicate it. So you are saying that going to Winchester, which is a process of going, is not, or is no. But, I think you're right in this, but the desire to go to Winchester may have its origin in commonness.
Yes, that's it.
Yes. But that very desire is still thought. Because I want to have fun, I want to this or that.
I would categorize it as something which we... Well, it's different than the thought of process, you know. We cannot...
Look. Tunki, the other day, if I remember rightly, we said thought is from the outside.
Ah, yeah.
Not if I. Don't agree so quickly. Dr. Bum pointed out at lunchtime, remember, he said, for the Eskimo, thought means outside. In Eskimo language, thought means outside. Rather interesting. You understand? Got it, Tunki? Whether thought going to Winchester or thought of having fun is still the same.
If you're going to Winchester, it's like a necessity. You just go to Winchester, all right? But if the moment you start thinking, I'm going to have fun...
Yeah. Going to Winchester because I need a pair of shoes is all right, because I need it. But going to Winchester in order to have this, because I want to have shoes that look very smart. So, where are we?
The moment you think that you are going to have fun, then when you get to Winchester, then you don't have fun. You're just repeating something you felt back at Brockwood.
That's right. That's just it. So you see now, come back. Learning is one thing and acquiring knowledge is another. Learning about mediocrity, in learning about mediocrity, I naturally accumulate knowledge about mediocrity. You understand? Oh Lord, come on, sirs. Are you tired this morning?
What do you mean by accumulate knowledge about?
I learn. In learning, I accumulate knowledge. I'll show it to you. In learning about mediocrity, I acquire knowledge. That is, I see, is it the schools that have made the mind mediocre? In looking at it, in learning about it, I see yes. The schools, with their teachers, with their profession, I've made my mind mediocre, like the rest of the gang. Now, that's the knowledge, isn't it? That means I've come to a conclusion. Right? Right? That's knowledge, isn't it? Wait, at that point. So, from that point I move.
But then learning is stuck.
Wait. Do it. Don't theorize about it. God's sake, you all theorize, full of it. In observing mediocrity, learning about it, I see very clearly education as it is does make my mind, by conforming and so on, ordinary. In observing, learning, there is this thing, yes, schools have done this, right? So that has become the knowledge, the fact, right? From that fact I move. I don't say, yes, that's so. Leave that, quite so. Be free of it to move further. Do you understand that? I'm working, you're not.
These thoughts.
So, have you understood? Don't go off to something
else.
else.
I want to go back a bit to the thoughts being outside.
And you were not here, yes, the other day when we were discussing thought being outside. Leave that for the moment.
No, but I see it pertains to this.
What?
I see a pertinence. When you said that, I see the thought outside me. I see I have a choice.
You see, you're going. That's.
Well, I don't feel common when I have that choice.
Why do you have a choice?
When I see the thought outside me.
No. You understand, sir? We said that in the language the Eskimos use, thought means outside. And when you observe, all your thoughts are from the outside.
Yes.
That's all. That's all. And we are saying that when you observe and learn, you accumulate knowledge, but you move from the past to the future. Oh my, you understand this or not? Look, so I examine why I'm angry. I see the cause of it. And having found the cause, I say I must not be angry. That is the conclusion, knowledge I have learned from observing anger. So that has become my knowledge. Now, from that knowledge says, I must not be angry, I move. That is, I have come to a conclusion, and forever in the future, whenever anger arises, I must not be angry. Whereas, if I am free of that conclusion, I can find out why I'm anew, afresh. You got it? Huh? So when the mind uses knowledge as the basis for future action, that is mediocrity. Therefore it doesn't stop learning. Oh my, come on, sir. Look, you have stolen my money. And I have a picture of you as stealing from me. That's my knowledge of you. And whenever I meet you, I say, you follow? That picture always comes. And so that picture prevents me from learning. She might have changed, or she might want to rub me more. So I don't learn. That previous experience or knowledge prevents me from learning further. So I say to myself, all right, I have had that experience, which is knowledge. All right, be free of it, to learn more. When I meet that person next time, I'm learning. I don't meet that person with the image which I have of the previous incident. Come on, sirs.
Are you saying forget the images?
Huh? Yes, sir.
Say, forget about what the person...
No, you can't forget it. It is there. Don't move from there. Be free of it, move.
Because when you try and forget, that's just you're still in the
Same thing.
You might ask for money back.
Yeah. You understood this clearly? So when I function from knowledge, which is the past, mediocrity comes in. So I say, yes, she has robbed me, stolen things from me, that is a fact. And when I meet her next time, that person next time, that image doesn't project itself and say, well, you follow? Whereas if can the mind be free of that incident to learn further? So, I've found out several things. I'm learning, and I've found in that learning several things. First, the reaction to the picture prevents from further observation. Right? That is the truth. That's a fact. A psychological fact that any reaction prevents further learning. And so, as the mind is intent on learning, reactions don't take place. That's the first thing I've learned. The mind has learned. And keeps on learning. It doesn't stop, say, I've learned that and stop there. Then it says, what has produced this mediocrity? What are the causes? Is it the society? Is it the culture? The family? The school? Probably it's all those. Not one thing after. It's the totality of all that has made the mind mediocre. I see how the schools have done it. The universities, colleges, the various professors, and so on, so on, so on. There are conclusions, but the mind is not attached to the conclusions. You understand? Because it's learning. And also I found out, and it's being learned, that thought is, in essence, is the source of mediocrity. Then I say to myself, what shall I do if I don't think? How absurd. I must think to get up to go to the upstairs or eat and talk. I must have the usage of thought. There must be the usage of thought. But yet thought is the very essence of mediocrity. So what shall I do? Go on. Do you see that? Huh? Do you?
I think that's what Tunke meant when he said...
I'm asking you a question, not what Tunke said. Do you see? Sorry to be rough, I'm not. But I want to get on with it, you're all asleep. Do you see that thought is the essence of mediocrity? And yet thought has to be used. You follow? I'm using it when I'm talking to you. The language. So, and yet I realize thought is, by its very nature, is mediocre. Because thought is a response of knowledge. Right?
Don't you have to be...
Huh?
By saying that, it seems that, well, in a sense, in the physical sense, sorry to split that up, but you're mediocre. We all have to live on this earth, right?
So what will you do?
So
you have to, you see thought is mediocre. Thought is what creates mediocrity. Do you see that? Are you learning that?
I'm afraid not to think.
Huh?
I'm afraid not to think.
So how shall we learn about it? Go on, sir. Tell me how to learn about it.
Not react to it.
No.
So I just keep saying.
I said, for me it is so. It's a fact, not a conclusion, an idea, a reasoned out, rationalized statement. The fact is that thought, in its very essence, brings about mediocrity. I see that, and yet I see thought must exist to function. You follow, sir? To wash a car, to cook, to go to Winchester, go to everything. Thought must be exercised.
So,
huh?
When you go to Winchester, when you go to Winchester and you say, "I'm going to have fun," well, you see, I'm going to Winchester because I need shoes, and that's it. So
it's finished.
So what's the state of the mind when you say, well, when you're not saying I'm not going to
That's
have fun?
Find out for yourself what is the state of mind that realizes very clearly that thought in its very structure is mediocre. Thought being the response of memory, knowledge, experience, accumulated knowledge, and when you act from that accumulated knowledge, it's mediocre, and yet you must function there, right? What?
There is a difference between an action using thought, or an action burdened by thought. I mean, in the sense, I use these words.
You are still thinking, aren't you, Tunke? You are still saying the same thing in different words. I am saying something different, which is thought, all thinking, whether going to Winchester, the process, the content, all thinking is mediocre. Because it's based on a reaction to the past. Past being knowledge. And yet that knowledge must be used. When I drive a car, speak, and so on. That knowledge has to be used. So, can the mind be free of knowledge and yet use knowledge? Oh, come on. I write a poem. In writing the poem, I have to use knowledge. Does that make mind mediocre?
Depends on how the poem is written.
What?
So I think it depends on in what way how the happening of the poem comes about.
I'm asking you, sir, you write a poem, you tell me.
Well, I know in my own case, I've written poetry and there have been two entirely different ways in which it's happened.
And no, you have misunderstood. Sorry, sir. You are there using words, rhythm, free verse, whatever you do, you write. That is writing from knowledge. Otherwise you couldn't put it down, whatever that language be. But we are asking and saying that thought is mediocre. How will you then live a life which is not mediocre? A life which is, don't want to use it because free from the known. And yet be with the known. You understood my question? Look, I've thought a great deal about action. Thought. What to do. I said, I cannot join this society. I cannot become a Catholic, a Protestant, a Hindu, a Buddhist, communist. I cannot join the business world. Thought has investigated and says, I will not, I will not, I will not. So what has it done? Stopped action, hasn't it? It has, through thought, the mind has become paralyzed. No?
Depends on how you look at it.
I have looked at it, I said, so take it, take it. So what has thought done? By reasoning, by investigating, thought has produced a paralysis. Through analysis, there is paralysis. Right? Right? And I'm stuck. I said, yeah, I have learned, I've examined, I've thought a great deal about this, that, the other. Which is the process of thought which has analyzed and paralysis has taken place.
What's paralysis?
Paralysis, what takes it when I have a stroke and I'm paralyzed, I can't move. My limbs become hard and there's no movement at all. So mentally, I'm paralyzed. Because thought has done all this. I don't say, all right, I'll find out, I'll learn.
It's the thought about the thoughts that's paralyzed, not the initial thought itself.
What?
It's the thought about the thoughts that paralyze.
Thought itself, which has examined what to do, what not to do, has produced the paralysis.
But the first thought wasn't paralyzed, wasn't paralysis.
Not the first or the second, so the whole movement of thought brought about paralysis.
But if I just thought, go to Winchester and done it...
No, we moved away from that. I said, look, I'm 20. And I say, what am I to do? If I join business, I see how corrupt it is. Sustains a rotten society. I've analyzed it, I've looked into it, thought. Right, I won't become a businessman. I see what politicians and politics are in the world is corrupt, and I won't become a politician. Right? So I won't. So gradually thought, by analyzing what I should do, has paralyzed me. Right? So I said, don't let thought do that, but learn. That is, learn to find out what is the right action in living. You understand, sir? And the right action in living is not the product of thinking. Right? So what is... I won't go into that now. So, learning is one thing, and learning from a conclusion, you understand, is no learning at all.
You can't learn it from a conclusion. Conclusion means you've decided and you've stopped.
Yes, that's right, that's right. I have decided that business world is corrupt. There, finished.
Closed your mind.
Close my mind, and because I've rationalized, I've examined it, I've seen what the business world is.
So you cut yourself off from the business world. Not tomorrow. It might change. It might be.
No. I won't. Tomorrow, those business people won't change, your boy. What are you talking about?
No, I mean.
Have you heard all about the corruption that's going on? No, you see, first of all, see the subtleness of it. You follow? Don't say yet, I must do this. See the complication, the subtlety, the sensitivity of it. You understand? Look, I'm 20, I don't know what to do. Drugs have tried this, that, other things. What am I to do? I want to live a clean life, a peaceful life, an intelligent life, a life full of sensitivity, affection, care. You follow? So what shall I do? I must earn a livelihood. Right? What shall I do? I see politics, business, doesn't matter, whatever it is, have all the seeds of corruption in them. And I don't want to be caught in any of those. What shall I do? Just go off by myself to some lonely island or some lonely place and drown myself with my problems?
I wonder, how do I see?
Oh, my darlings. No, it's not the problem. Don't go off. I am 20. You are old boy. 21, are you? Yes, the other day we had a birthday. Huh? What are you going to do when you are confronted with all this? You have thought about it. You have examined it. You have analyzed it. You have said, oh, corrupt. And that has paralyzed you, hasn't it?
So stop thinking about it.
So what? So how will you do? Then what will you do?
Well, see, when you stop thinking about it.
Then what will you do? Go on.
Whatever needs to be done.
Huh?
Whatever needs to be done.
Whatever he wants to do?
No. Whatever needs to be done.
Keep open.
Whatever needs to be done? Who is going to tell you what needs to be done?
You'll just see.
Huh?
You'll just see.
So you see what needs to be done. What? Where?
If, for instance, you're hungry, just eat.
But then how do I get that food to eat? Beg? In Europe and in England, that's, begging is not allowed. Go to India, you can live very well begging, happily, still. So what will you do?
I'll go out and inquire and look and see what's possible.
What? Huh? Look, I become a gardener to a rich man. He's exploiting me. I'm supporting the society. See how my reason goes on? So gradually I paralyze myself. That's the point I'm pointing. You follow? So
you become a paralyzed gardener.
that's paralyzed, and I can't do anything.
So I would say I joined the thing. I mean, I see corrupt or whatever, a businessman or a
So
gardener.
you see what I'm trying to tell you, Tunki?
But in joining it, I mean, in doing it, I see to sensitivity to.
Not in joining it. See,
I mean, well, in doing something.
in doing you learn, not conclude and then paralyze. In doing you learn. You don't say, well, sit back and say, I won't be a businessman, it's corrupt. I won't join the army because it kills. I won't do this. You follow? You have blocked yourself completely so that you don't act. So you have paralyzed yourself by concluding. Whereas learning is not concluding. Say, yes, all right, I'm going to find out. What shall I do? Become a gardener? Am I capable of it? I'm going to learn. And then in that learning, I say, I discover I'm greedy. I am greedy, not society has made me. I am greedy. I may be part of my society, but I am greedy. So I say, look, the corruption begins here. Not over there only, but here. So as long as I am greedy, ambitious, envious, etc., so on and on, I am contributing to corruption. Not by, you follow? I won't do this, I won't do that. The source of corruption is here. Because I'm part of the society and I'm the world and the world is me.
It makes you mediocre.
You've got it. What time is it?
It's only 12:30.
Huh?
I think it's only 12:30.
Oh, only 12:30. You mean you want me to go on?
I can see that rationalizing is paralyzing, is blocking. But say I'm not free from images myself.
Therefore, sir, learn what the images are, how they come into. Learn. Don't say I mustn't have images, which is another image.
But you cannot decide to have not images, you see.
And no, that's a conclusion, I said. Look, sir, I have images. You have stolen my money. And I have an image about you. And from that image I act. The image is a conclusion, right? And when I meet you next time, you may be different. I'm learning. Or you may not be different. But I don't approach you with the image that I have about you.
I can see that one of the things that slows me down right here now is something in me that's afraid to respond or afraid to allow the reaction in the dialogue to happen, afraid to let the dialogue happen, fear to let the dialogue happen in between us.
Yes, sir. So I have this problem. The problem of knowledge being the image and action. The action born from an image is one thing. The action born from learning is quite a different thing. You see that? Do you see it? Not intellectually see it, nor verbally, but actually see the difference between the two. No?
It's very difficult because this
What's
word
that?
learning is so loaded.
That's
Our mediocre minds demand that if we learn, we have something to show for it.
In learning, you point out, Miss Porter points out, it's a lonely life. Because everybody is not learning, everybody is functioning from conclusions, ideals, which is the common thing to do. And if I come along and say, I'm learning, nobody will listen to, I'm a lonely person. Therefore, can I stand that loneliness and not go neurotic? Not do strange kind of things out of my loneliness. So I learn. You follow? It is a tremendous vitality that demands.
Yep.
Huh?
I was going to say actually, what when you discover you cannot stand this loneliness?
And then you go become ordinary or neurotic.
There's no other choice.
Huh?
There's one other choice.
The ordinary man is neurotic. So in a mad world, you are a sane man. They say, my God, and you have no relationship. And you feel lonely. And can you stand that loneliness without kind of going to pot, without, deal with that loneliness? And not degenerate, become neurotic and cultivate neuroticism as a beautiful flower. So you're going to face this when you leave here, now or in later times. You're going to face this problem. There is this insane world outside you. And it is insane. And here we are trying to point out what is sanity. And you're learning about sanity. That's part of your education, what it is to be sane. And to see the insane. And when you leave, and you have been to college, university, well, if you don't or do, you are going to face this problem. The problem of earning a livelihood.
What's the difference between sane and sanity?
Same, sorry. Both words mean, as we said the other day, whole, sane, healthy. And also it means holy, Holy. All that is implied in that word, sane, healthy, whole, unfragmented. And I see this, and you are faced with this problem. What will you do? Become a businessman? Because you have to earn a livelihood. Join the army because my grandmother and father was a military bird. Or society says, oh, you must join the army because your country needs you. And so on. What will you do? If you're a girl, you have not that so much that problem because you'll get married and stuck. Babies, and then you say, oh, I'm responsible. House, property. You follow? And you will send your children to schools where they will train them to be mediocre, join the army, and you will weep when they get killed. And that's all. Right?
Not if you keep learning.
I say you're going to face this problem. So learn from now on. Not when you're thrown out there, then you've no time to learn. You're already caught. So don't get depressed about it. It's a beastly world. So, have you learnt a lot this morning? Are you learning a lot? Learning. Not having learnt, apply. Nelson? Huh?
Yes.
Are you learning?
Yes.
Good. Keep it. Work at it. I think that's enough, isn't it?